There we go. Can you hear me?
Hey Lisa, how's it going? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely. How's your week going?
Oh,
Sorry.
it's good. I was at a wedding this weekend, so oh god, it was a rough one.
Oh, were you busy? Yeah, it must have
Yeah,
been.
fun one, but rough.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah. Thank you again. No, this is awesome, and I'm glad. I really appreciate you taking the time to like kind of just walk me through a few things because I obviously I know MT4 more, you know, and so understanding trading on TradingView, which I'd never done before.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, definitely. It's totally different, but I think once you actually get the hang of things and you know how all the functions work, it's actually a lot easier and it's a lot there's a lot more things you can do with TradingView versus MT4, I'd say.
I agree. And after kind of going through some of your trainings on your site, going through it and actually watching you, it looks really easy. And I'm like, shit, I totally get it. And then, when you're doing it by yourself for the first time, you kind of get a little gun shy on like, wait, do I know what I'm like? You second guess yourself in the way of, there's money on the line. So you're kind of like, God, I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing before I start blowing money out just to for the sake of trading,
Yeah, a lot of people get a little too excited and they want to hop right in like they're pros all of a sudden, but they haven't really gotten everything down 100% yet.
And that's kind of where I feel like I am in the way of just really understanding how to put a trade in on this and making sure that I'm doing it right. Both from the signal, meaning learning how to do multiple take profits, but also when you use the tool, obviously you've done it 1,000 times, so it's like perfection. When you do it on all your examples on the site,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I do this every single day. And, whenever I have other mentoring sessions, it's just reiteration of like how to apply everything. So I've literally done this like thousands of times. So it's like second nature to me. Like I don't even have to think about it. And I'm literally making all these different changes.
Right. And I think that's what it is once I kind of make sure that I really understand what I'm doing and like kind of maybe trying to avoid some pitfalls, but also like just making sure that I have the fundamentals down, that you're like, yeah, you're totally doing it. You're just feeling scared because you've never done it before. You know what I mean? Or like, no, you're actually, thank God you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So are there any like specific areas that you feel you need work on, or do you just like, is there anything specific that you're more focused on learning or something that you feel like you're not 100% confident with? Because we can pretty much work on anything you really need help with.
Like, I'm just trying to think like where my head's at. Like, okay, like walk me through what you would say would be like, okay, you guys put out an alert. We then get the alert on our phone, right? And obviously in the morning, I'm sitting here like, from the London, New York overlap, I'll usually get up at 5:30ish, 6:30, somewhere in there. And kind of look at some trades and sort of see what the market's doing. But what I'm finding is on your alerts, they're kind of throughout the day. So you're not necessarily in that window.
Yeah, so basically for all of my Forex trades, I trade on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm assuming you're on Pacific time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So for us, generally the times that I do trade, I trade at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., sometimes at 3 p.m. like right now once the swap spread has ended, and then again at 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. because those are, every day the 4-hour candle closes at the same exact time. So those are the times that I'm trading Forex. For US 30, it's a little different because we're generally waiting for the first signal after the New York Stock Exchange open at 6:30 a.m. Yep. So you can see right here, there's literally like no signal that happened. And once it gets closer to market close, like right here, the signal came up at like lunchtime, our time, which was like 12:30. And the market was going to close like within an hour, So at that point, I never take a trade when it's this far out because generally what happens is you can see here that once we move from session to session for US 30 or any specific US asset, generally what happens is the price will go and reverse. So like for one session, generally we'd have like a buy signal somewhere over here. The problem with this was that the buy signal came, 3 or 4 hours ahead of time right here. Okay. So, what happened was the price started pushing from here and then it never really pulled back because generally what we would be looking for is for some sort of retracement, like maybe a false sell signal like this right here.
Yeah.
at some point over here, and then we have that trend continuation back upwards. But we were waiting for that, and it came up a few times, but it never really closed. So, the trend up was so strong that we were just, there was no point in us going against the trend, especially with the news following it. Because
Sure.
I follow CNBC in the morning. So they just kept saying that it was going to be bullish and bullish. So even though we got the sell signal right here, I was thinking not to take it, because basically what happens here is during each session, the momentum will be set, and then it'll push in that direction for the rest of that session. Then once we move to, Asia session or through the swap spread, it'll usually go the opposite direction. And then once we go into London, which would be somewhere over here, it usually switches again back to, an uptrend if it ends up pulling back a little bit.
Sure.
So that's generally how it moves. But yeah, so with regard to my US 30 signals, there's no specific like set time, but normally they come out between 6:30 and 10:30. Once it passes 10:30, you can see right here that it already made is a nice push up. And then generally from 10:30 to market close, it'll either pull back a bit or it'll just go sideways. So that's why we generally don't like to trade after, a specific time period, because during lunchtime, that's when it goes sideways because everyone's going to lunch and there's no volatility in the market. And then you never know what's going to happen once we enter Asia session. So that's why I don't like to hold on to any US 30 trades into the next session, unless it's like London and into US, because generally the pace will get set during London and then it'll usually continue on during US session.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. And that helps me to know too, like if I don't see a US 30 signal, by that time, I know that it's just not a good trade today. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And in some cases, it could be a good trade. Like this trade right here, technically is still active if someone took it, because the entry would be here. The stop loss would have been about 1,500 pips, which would be like that right there. So like I mentioned earlier, once we enter Asia session, price can generally go the opposite way. So technically this trade would still be active if someone was to take it, that late into the market. But me personally, I like to take trades that I'm like almost 100% certain that it's going to go in my direction.
Sure.
Because it's just too risky. Plus today, is technically a holiday. I'm not sure if it's a federal holiday, but a lot of people said, this or that. So I wasn't really sure if the market was even going to be moving today, but it, obviously it did for whatever reason.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. And then I have my charts, my 4 charts set up, 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. And that's right? Like, and you guys kind of look at all 4.
Oh, so you're applying the original intraday strategy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for that was the old way of doing it. So previously, when I first created that strategy, we didn't have the trend meter yet. So I didn't create this trend meter down at the bottom. So I see what you do. You have like the 4 charts, and then you have it set with, a specific pair like OJPY or something like that. And then you have like the 4 charts open like that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we haven't done that in a long time, because now we have the trend meter below. The main reason for having this open before was that so we can see what the overall trend is. So like what we would do is we would have this was way before all these. I created all these other indicators. In the beginning, I only had one indicator, which was the momentum indicator. But over time, I just found ways to make things a lot more efficient for everyone else, because generally we would just have like the cloud open right here, and I'm sure this is what yours looks like with just the clouds and stuff. Let's see.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, this is probably what your chart looks like.
Yeah.
Turn this off.
And then with the momentum, what else do I have up?
Yeah, because I think you have it like this. So you have it basically with 4 clouds open, and then you're trying to identify the trend on the 4 time frames. However, now that we have the trend meter below, we were able to take all this stuff off, because it made it a little hard. It was easy for me because I was doing this all the time in the same situation as what we were talking about earlier. But now, instead of having this, we have the trend meter down here. So now we can just do everything on one chart. And then we have the trend meter down here. So instead of having to look at the cloud on 4 different charts, now what we can do is we can just set the time frame to the trend meter down here to the 30-minute, the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. So instead of having all those charts open, we can just look down here to make sure if it's green or not. So if it's green down here, this means that price is above the cloud on all those 4 time frames. So instead of looking at 4 charts and making sure that it's above, you can just look at the bottom. And if it's green down here, this means that price is above the cloud on all 4 time frames. However, if it's below, then it will be red like it is right here.
And how did you set that again? What did you hit? How did you set those to make sure I have them set right?
Oh, for the trend meter?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So just click on this right here, this drop down menu, and it'll have all of your indicators showing. So just click on this little setting button right here on the trend meter. And then you can go to inputs, and then you can change the time frames to basically whichever time frames you want. But the intraday settings would be 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour.
Okay, got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. Not having to kind of look at 4 different things. I can sort of do it with just one. That's fantastic. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of people will get like super confused if they're looking at too many things at once. And there's a lot of ways that people could miss things. But like now that you have this, you can just match, the buy signal with the trend meter down here green. So if you have those 2 set up, you can pretty much just enter your buy position there, and obviously would have hit TP right here.
Yeah.
So it just makes things a whole lot more efficient. And that's how it is with, all of the K2 strategies. Like over time, I'll have like a version 1 of them. And then once I figure out ways to make trading a lot more efficient or easier for people, then I'll just create something new, basically to replace the stuff that was making it inefficient in the first place.
Got it. Okay. And then using the tool like you just did to put, I think I just have to like do it a couple times to know that like, okay, I got it. Like I didn't put it in the wrong place, or because it looks pretty simple when you do it.
Oh, the long tool. Yeah. So basically, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can either, so if we were to take this position over here, we would, there's a couple different ways to do it. So you can either zoom out, so you can have the full screen up, and then you'll just click on this long tool right here.
Yep.
And then you can just click where you were wanting to enter right there. And then it would be set up, and then it'd have like the perfect swing parameters here, because the thing with setting your stop loss at the previous swing is that it could be very subjective. Like right here, this could technically be the swing here because price came up and it's swinging back down. But in some situations, the swing might be a little too close. So generally what I like to do is I just like to have TradingView do it for me, because I'm not going to be smarter than the computer. I'll let them determine where the swing is at. So if you wanted to do that, you can just click this reset chart button, which zooms out. Just click on the long tool and then just place it right there, and it'll automatically plot for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, but there's different ways to do it. So if you want to do it manually, you can always put it at, the previous swing here or the previous swing down here. It's just really up to you. But me personally, just to be efficient, I prefer to just have TradingView do it for me. And then if I need to make adjustments along the way, you're more than welcome to do that too.
And then when you click it, how do you make the trade go in? Does it like you push okay when you're kind of resetting the pips, right?
Oh, when you want to enter the trade on your actual account?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you want to enter the trade, say you're right here. I mean, obviously it's not going to work because price is somewhere along the line, but you can either click up here to either, I'll just use a paper account so I can just show you how it looks. And I'll just go to normal time right now, and I'll show you exactly how so just say, we'll just use this as an example. If we wanted to enter somewhere right here, say we wanted to enter a buy position, obviously there's no entry here, but if there was an entry here and you wanted to enter where price currently is, you can either click this up here, and then you can set your TP stop loss. So say if your TP stop loss was about 20 pips, we'll just round it up. You can put 20 pips there. And then in order to determine your risk percentage, instead of choosing your unit size or lot size, depending on how you want to measure it, I generally just go right here to the risk percentage, and I'll put like 3%, and then it'll automatically calculate my position size for me.
Got it.
But there's a lot of different ways to do it. So that's one way of doing it. If you want to enter market, if you want to enter at a specific price, you can put a limit order or a stop order. They're pretty much the same thing, just depending on where price currently is. And another way to do it as well is to just right click on the chart wherever you want to enter, and then you can hit trade, create order, and the same thing will come up for you. So it just really depends on how you want to put it in.
Okay, got it. And then when you're going to put in multiple take profits, how does that work?
Yeah. So for me personally, I usually just have 2 positions running. It's a little different on MT4 because you can put in multiple. Yeah, you can put in 2 different like separate positions, but for TradingView, what they do is they average out your position. So basically, if I wanted to enter a buy right here, I can just enter, random buy right here. And then depending on how you want to manage it. So say if price was already in profit, like X amount, you wanted to close out half your position.
Yeah.
So you would just put it in a separate order. So instead of, because right now you have a standard lot, which is 100,000 units in a buy position going upwards. If you want to sell off half of that, you can just click sell, and then you can put half of that in there. Like instead of, if you want to sell off half of it, that'd be 50,000 units. And then once you click on that there, it just knocks it down to half lot size. And then you pretty much close out half of your position. However, if you want to put multiple TPs, like how we kind of discussed in the group, what you can do is you can just set different orders here. So say you have 50,000 units, which is equivalent to a 0.50. So if you wanted to close out half of your position here, you can just set an opposite order. Like say this is your TP1 right here.
Yeah.
You can hit trade right here, put a sell limit, and then you can change that to like about 25,000 right there. And then once price reaches this point, it'll close out 25,000 units right there. And then it'll be half of it. And then you can do the rest up here for the rest of that 25,000.
Got it.
And then this would be your TP1, and then this would be your full TP.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's just a ton of different ways to do it. I mean, like I mentioned, before, how customizable it is. You can do it where you can sell off like half your position, or you can do it where you're just doing it manually, like I did initially from that first 100,000 unit size. But yeah, it just really depends, because some people can be on their computer all the time, which, similar in my situation, where I can just close it out manually, because I kind of like to know when I get out, because I don't want to have to leave it there and then worry about, did it actually close out or not, or anything like that. So basically what I do is I just close them out manually. But, if you wanted to just set them, like set and forget it, you can go ahead and do that as well. But, it's just really up to preference. I think once you do it a couple times, you're going to figure out like what fits your trading personality.
Right. No, and that makes sense too. But like, it's nice to sort of know all of my options and then be able to figure out what feels best to me, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I used to do this too before. And then it got to a point where sometimes where my computer didn't load, or like something was up with my internet connection, and it showed that my position was still there. So I was like, I'd rather know for sure that I actually close it out where I want to close out, versus just, just letting it be and then not being certain that it was actually closed out.
Right. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, and then, so basically I'm just trying to figure out, like, with now starting to use your new proprietary, like how to set myself up for success, and sort of like, I guess, just really trying to make sure that I understand everything. So obviously your advice would be something like watch every single thing that you have on the site to be able to like really familiarize myself. And then is there anything else that you would recommend to me to like really help my skill set with like really understanding this? Because it seems pretty simple in the way of like, if I'm just following signals, like that, most of the guesswork is taken out of it for me,
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people, what they do is instead of just following my signal straight from the T, what a lot of people do is they go and look for trades themselves. And then if they see that I call a trade and it was the same exact one that they were looking at, then that gives them, that justification that trade was for sure a good trade. Sure. And then they would just enter it instead of just following it, blindly, basically. But I would say, yeah, it is a lot. It's really easy in like, from a broad view, but I feel like when people actually do apply it themselves, a lot of people second guess, like they second think themselves, because they think it's a little too easy. Yeah. So I think the real thing is, I've already given you guys the blueprint of like, how I actually trade. The main difference is that I've been trading for so long that my trade psychology is pretty much on point. Like I never second guess anything. If I see anything that looks good, I'll enter it right away. I think the biggest problem with a lot of traders is second guessing it. So what happens is a lot of people will enter good trades, but then they'll exit too early, or they won't let the trade breathe enough. Right. And I think that's probably going to be, the same issue with you, because, you've already noticed that the strategies are pretty simple, and, you try to keep things pretty straightforward. So I think the main thing with you would probably just be trade psychology and maybe lot size, like your risk management. Because I know a lot of people, they'll win a couple trades back to back, and then they'll just over leverage their entire account, and they're like, crap, I should have just, stuck to the plan.
Right. No, totally. And then so for US 30 too, because I was trying to figure that out. So I need to use my Owanda account then for US 30. Um, because I tried to do it on Forex and I'm like, ah shit. Okay, I got to use my other account. So I need to fund, that one's not funded right now. So I need to fund that one. So I see you use currency.com. Are they pretty good? I don't know.
Yeah, so the thing with us is since we're located in the US, there's a lot of restrictions with us trading US 30 because they require that we trade, the actual future.
Okay.
Indices is kind of like it's more of a, I'd say like a man-made asset. It's like an asset
Yeah.
that's based off the
Yeah.
true future. So basically, for us, we can't really trade them on real brokers. Real brokers obviously, but not regulated brokers. So for us, we have to use unregulated brokers. Like I use Hugo's Way for my personal, and then
Uh-huh.
I use FTMO for my bigger account where I just take the bigger lot sizes. For us, we can't use Owanda. They do accept clients, but I think it's only Canadian clients. We have some members that are from Indonesia that use them, and a
Okay.
couple other international clients. But for us in the US, unfortunately, we're not able to use Owanda for US 30. So you
Got
would
it.
have to use I, I I don't recommend Hugo's Way, but I use it myself, so I can see that they're like
No,
horrible.
I get it. I have an account with them. It's just not funded. So I
Yeah.
can, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Hugo's Way would probably be your best other option. I
Okay.
just recommend that you don't do any crazy trading with them. Like
Sure.
if you're just trading the daily with them, then it's perfectly fine. But the times where I ran into issues with them was mostly when I was scalping with them because their pricing is a little off. So like sometimes they'll miss your orders and then you'll think that you're in your order, but then the server will just go haywire and you'll lose connection. And then it happened to me one time where I was so deep in profit, but then I tried to close my position and it wouldn't let me. And then I ended up nearly blowing the account. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything crazy on Hugo's Way anymore because their execution times aren't always on point.
Got it. No, that makes a ton of sense. And that's really good to know so that I don't like freak myself out,
Exactly, because I was sweating like crazy when that happened because I had like such a huge position. I was so deep in profit, and I was trading during like news. So one thing that I don't recommend is don't trade during news and don't trade when volatility is crazy, like when price is spiking up all over the place.
Okay.
But if you're just trading the daily entry, since you just have one position, it's not going to be a huge issue because there's only one order that needs to be executed. Versus if you're scalping, you're going back and forth within buys and sells throughout like an hour period or whatnot.
And has it been hard to get your money from Hugo's Way, like doing a transfer?
I've never had any issues. I
Okay.
know in the beginning it took some time because I think Bitcoin usually takes a while to transfer, so it might take a couple days. But after I've been with them for maybe a year now, it hasn't been very bad, and I only withdraw like maybe once a week, and it's been pretty consistent. Like there's no issues with it. I know some people had issues before, but that's why I never recommend putting too much money into it
Yeah.
in case something happens. That's why for me, I withdraw at the end of every week. So if I ever go over 3,000 or 5,000, I definitely withdraw. But I think within that amount, it's not too bad. Like you won't run into many issues.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes sense. No, this is all really good stuff of just like reiterating what I know, but sort of getting that, like hearing it from the horse's mouth too. You created this and you understand like what's best practices and what's the best way to use this software and the indicators and all that. This is amazing. I have to say, like, congrats to you, man. It really is easy. And the way that you've done your videos to like in layman's terms to make people who've never used it before understand, I was like, it can't be this easy. I was like, God, it's rad. It's easy. It really helps. Like, I mean, what you've done is pretty major, I think, of just like leading my eye to something that I can see. Like I've taken classes at, I'm a student at OTA. Do you know Online Trading Academy?
Oh yeah, I've seen commercials of them like at the gym and stuff.
Yeah. So I've taken some classes and they sort of teach supply and demand. And I've looked at a lot of charts in my day. So I know, like, once you've looked at charts, it's shit you can't unsee.
Exactly.
But like what you've done is help that second guessing of no, it is going in that direction. And, from the naked eye, you know, so it's nice.
Exactly, definitely. Yeah. And all of these indicators are based off, normal trading strategies that I've developed over the years. These are basically just, I like to look at them as training wheels because generally, for me, I can pretty much see all this stuff without any of the indicators. The thing is, it's hard to teach someone to see what I see without the indicators. So the thing is, if you look at the charts long enough, you'll start to see these patterns where you don't even
Yep.
need these indicators.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I try to teach people because a lot of people are very against indicators, but indicators are just helping you. They're like, it takes out the guesswork so you don't have to wonder exactly like where price is going.
Training wheels is a perfect way to put it because it's just that reiteration that you're not, I just, it's a nice thing to sort of like be able to breathe a little bit, when you're making these trades.
Exactly.
No, that's huge. And then so I could be wrong, but like, so trades will come in throughout the day, right? So obviously, because like you have a business around this as well, so you're pretty much in front of your computer all day.
Literally, yeah. So like, throughout the day, I'm calling out signals, on the 4-hour time frame and the daily US 30. And then also throughout the day, I'm having these mentoring sessions, like pretty much back to back throughout the day as well.
Right.
So I literally like live, breathe, and eat, trading. So this is why this is like my passion. I love doing this.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And for me, I would love to just be a full-time trader. My friends obviously think I'm nuts and they think I'm gambling every day. I mean, you know how that goes. Like everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. And especially because I'm a girl and I'm like, you guys, come on. Why can't I learn this? Give me a break.
Right.
And I think in such a time like this is like, God, if there's a time to learn this skill set that you'll have for the rest of your life, it's right now. Like the world is nuts right now.
Exactly. And the thing that I love about trading is you can make money either way. Like it doesn't matter if the market's going well or going bad. And the funny thing is like, I had friends and family that thought the same exact thing because prior to this, I was an attorney actually.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. So I was working as an attorney for a while and, I literally hated the job because it was literally like I was working at a big firm. So it was just stress and work like 12-hour days. And then it got to a point where in March I actually got laid off. So it gave me time to trade full time. And then from March until now, it's been great.
No, because I'm a television producer, and I don't think I'll go back to work anytime soon. The television business is totally different now, and so for me, that's what I just rather is just put my head down and learn this and see if I can sort of supplement my income that way. And just I know it's like one of those things that year after year I'll get better and better, and it's one of those things that I have to just put in the work.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I've been trading for about like 10 years. I wasn't profitable until 5 years in.
Sure.
And I wasn't consistently profitable until maybe 2 years after that. So like maybe the past 2-3 years, that's when I became pretty consistent. And it got to a point where I was able to replace like my normal income. So it got to a point where I was just stressed out with work and I really wanted to find something that I really liked doing. So it was this obviously. And I was able to, thankfully I got laid off because if I didn't get laid off, I probably would have never left.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get it.
Yeah. And it totally worked out because like now here I am helping, everyone else that's on the same path because I've always wanted to be a full-time trader. I've always wanted to be consistently profitable. And it's a lot harder when you're doing it on your own. Because like for me, I never took any courses. I literally learned this stuff from scratch.
That's amazing.
And the good thing about it is that I learned so much bad material that I was able to put together all the good material and, create my own strategies from that.
And it's huge because there's a lot of crap and there's a lot of people repackaging free information that's just on the internet and repackaging and selling it. So that's why a lot of people have such a problem with these, courses and this and that, because there's a lot of snake oil salesmen, when it comes to the trading thing, so it's nice to find somebody who like, not only did you create proprietary, stuff, but really truly wanting to help others, I think that's something that like you can go to sleep every night and know that you're helping so many people. It's huge.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that I'm not like, one of the people that are ripping everyone off either. Cause I do see a lot of people just literally copying other people's courses and just reselling them under a different name. It's funny.
It's very sad.
It is. It really is.
A lot of people don't know,
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I get it. I think I just wanted to make sure that I'm understanding and sort of get some of the nuancy stuff from putting in, understanding a little bit more on TradingView as well and making sure that I do understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything more specific that you have questions with, I mean, I'm always available to get on another session with you in the future.
Yeah.
But if you ever have anything very specific, because I know there's some people that just have very specific things like how we talked about how to enter a trade. A lot of people had
Yeah.
problems with that. But yeah, if you have anything very specific, I'm always available to like hop on a quick call if that's the case, and we can
Yeah,
always.
no, that would be amazing, and I really appreciate that too, because I think once I start putting in a couple of trades, I'll know more specifically where, where my deep dark questions are, and sort of like what I feel like I'm struggling with. You
Oh
know.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And a lot of the issues are, it's based on trial and error because you really don't know where your real problem areas are until you
Right.
actually run into them yourself.
No, 100%. And that's good because like as soon as I was waiting to get another account funded, they made it was like a weekend too, so it kind of screwed things up. So that's what took longer.
Oh
But
yeah.
so I now am funded so I can do the forex.com because remember I was asking I'm like why won't this work, and it was I had an MT4 account, so that's why I was
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
I
So you
got it
wouldn't be able to
sorted.
log into it.
Yeah, so now we're good. Now we're fine, so it's all good. So but yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just now that I sort of get and just understand a few things and a few of the like the nuances of the indicators and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like how you're applying the original strategy before, that's like so much work compared to like with the trend meter now. So
Oh,
I
okay,
think that,
cool.
that
That's
definitely makes
great.
like yeah, it definitely makes a big difference. But you can still do the same way that we did originally because that'll also help you understand, where my thought process was in creating these things. Because you can see the timeline, like it went from version 1 to version 2 to now version 3. And it's just going to keep evolving. Like, once because the market's always evolving and changing. So if there's anything that I see that can be changed to make things better, I always give updates and I'll give you guys maybe new indicators that will, probably make things easier for everyone.
Okay. And what would you recommend as like next steps too of like, okay, after I've watched every single video on your site that is it go to YouTube and watch some of the old stuff, or like just watch the daily, like when you do the recap, or what do you think is the most valuable?
Yeah, so everything on the course would be pretty much everything from start to finish that you pretty much ever really will ever need. But then yeah, if you ever want to go back and look at the previous webinars, I know there's a lot of them, but during each webinar, I'm always answering questions from people that have specific issues. So like the thing with those issues are that a lot of other people run into the same exact issues as well. So I'm not sure if it's something that you might have run into, but if you do want more information, that would probably be the next step, just to go over the
Okay.
webinars. Or I think the better step is to just keep practicing, and then as
Okay.
you practice, just make
Yep.
a list of any issues, anything that you're not 100% about, so that the next time we do go on a webinar, or if we have another mentoring session, I can answer that directly for you, so that you can get, like how you mentioned earlier, get straight from the mouth, like basically where I'm just telling you how it's done without you having to guess or like look through specific videos.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. That makes a ton of sense. And I think too, once I sort of see where I'm struggling, then I'll be able to ask you like a specific question.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think like everyone's totally different with their trading because everyone's on different levels of trading. So the thing with every individual person is that if you run into one issue, you're probably going to keep running into that same issue over and over again. And the more you run into it, the better it'll be when you have the question set up, because then you can actually just clear it up all at once instead of having to keep guessing or looking for a specific video where it's covered. Because there's so many webinars that I have like twice a week, so it's going to be hard for you to pinpoint exactly what you're looking for just going through each webinar.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, and I think it'll be good too because like I know, and I have thick enough skin and broad enough shoulders that I know I'm gonna have to fail a little bit to really understand where my personal pitfalls are, and then that's where we can kind of work together on fixing them.
Exactly, definitely. Because I've been training for so long where I've ran through all these issues on my own, and I pretty much just figured everything out through like trial and error. Because generally, whenever there's an issue, there's always a solution to it, especially with trading, because with trading, things can only go one way or the other. And if
Right,
something doesn't
right.
go your way, there's definitely going to be something that you can do to fix it.
Right. No, that's good. And that's sort of like, that makes me feel good on like, this is just going to be about time and putting in the work. You know what I mean? Because I'll get there. It's just how long each person, takes. So,
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty much all about repetition because once you do something enough time, it's literally going to be like second nature to you, just like learning a new language, basically.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. No, this is great. So, okay, cool. Well, no, I really appreciate your time and I really appreciate your help, because I feel like, just speaking with you just like kind of puts me at ease a little bit. That like, okay, I'm on the right path. I know what I'm doing. Everything's set up now, will be set up correctly, and we're good to go on setup, and knowing that I'm looking at things right.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just, it's my confirmation that you're doing things properly that will definitely like push you to that next level
Right.
where you can keep growing from there instead of you wondering if you're doing things properly or not.
Yeah, it's a scary thing, because I mean, obviously I have money. Everyone wants to be going in the right direction, but I know that that's not real in trading. So I have to. There's gonna be losses, but let's just make them little, that kind of thing.
Exactly. I think the main key is just risk management, because you're not going to, you're never going to be 100% with your trading, but as long as you can minimize the risk when it's necessary, you'll be able to bounce back regardless. Because you've seen like, the overall results for the year, like even if we have like one bad week, it'll bounce back like the following week or the following month. And it's just the same cycle pretty much every month, every week, every year.
Right. Okay. No, that's great. Then I'm on the right path. I think I was like, okay, I just need to make sure I understand everything right. And then I can kind of take it from there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I have this report on YouTube too. So I'll send you the YouTube link if you
Cool.
want to go back and look at it. Because I know a lot of people, they ask questions and they forget about it. I just want to make sure it's recorded. So you can go back and look at it if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. No, I appreciate it. So,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Well, cool. Well, then as soon as I kind of maybe get in, maybe in another, 3 weeks, a month, I'll probably have some more questions like trading every day for the next couple weeks, and,
Yeah,
and then I
exactly.
can kind of pinpoint where I feel like I'm struggling.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a learning process. Literally every day you learn something new and you'll have a new question. So it'll be good. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shawn. I greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. No problem. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
Definitely. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, see ya.